Hello, my name is Rose Riley, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Washtenaw County. Welcome to our online candidate forum for the November 5th general election. The League is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that promotes voter education and participation, and we host candidate forums to help voters make informed choices. Now, let's hear from the candidates.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Schemke, and I will moderate the forum tonight. It is my honor to introduce the candidates running in the November general election for the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners, District 7. They are Mary Kazonis of the Green Party and Andy Labar, Democrat. Thank you, candidates, for participating in this forum. We're now ready for your opening statements. Ms. Kazonis, you will go first. And remember, you have 90 seconds.
Hi, I'm Mary Kazonis, and I've been in the Green Party for about 14 years now. I have worked over the years on a number of local Green Party campaigns, helping once to host a debate in Washtenaw County. But this is the first year I've decided to run for anything, and it's for the County Commissioner in the 7th District. I have had a long career as a medical, psychiatric, and children's and family social worker. And I'm now at the time in my life where I would like to give back to the community. I'm mostly interested in addressing the lack of mental health options and the lack of affordable housing, as well as working on children's issues. I'm also deeply concerned about the endless, immature fighting of the major two parties and the example that this is setting for our children and the generation to come. So I'm running on a mental health and children's advocacy platform that I think is consistent with the Green Party key value of social justice. I'm not now here to listen with my ears, but to listen with my heart.
Thank you, Ms. Kazonis. Mr. Labar, may we have your opening statement, please?
Rebecca, thank you and to the members of the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. Ms. Kazonis, it's lovely to see you. I should note this is the first time in a general election forum that the other person on the ballot has been present. So this is new and exciting, and thank you for being here. My name is Andy Labar. I've had the privilege since 2012 to serve as the County Commissioner for District 7 on the east side of Ann Arbor. My primary focus throughout those years on the board have been human services. This is primarily related to those economic and social services we tend to consider around homelessness, economic assistance, and so forth, along with those services that fall under public health and under mental health. I am also on the Community Mental Health Board and then the author of the 2017 Mental Health and Public Safety Millage, which we currently collect and allocate at the county board. County government is never considered the most exciting unit of government, but it is very often the most important in terms of getting those services from government out to those who need them in tangible, manageable pieces. And I look forward to the discussion tonight, and thank you again for the chance to be here.
Thank you, candidates. And now to the questions. We'll start with Mr. Labar for the first question. In your opinion, what are the county's primary responsibilities?
Rebecca, above and beyond anything else, the county has responsibility for those duties that are mandated in the state constitution and state law that fall under the 5 countywide offices: sheriff, prosecutor, water commissioner, treasurer, and then our clerk. Beyond that, the primary service that the county is most importantly in charge of are human services. These are the services that folks tend to categorize as social welfare or social justice related issues. They run the gamut from economic assistance to more technical assistance in nature. They have both general fund application in departments like Office of Community and Economic Development, and non-general fund application, things like community mental health and public health, which are primarily federal and state level pass-throughs. Beyond that, oversight of the county operations is a critical job for the Board of Commissioners, and its most important role is reflecting the will and voice of the people we represent as we make county policy, both in the annual budget and in more long-term programmatic endeavors.
Great, thank you. Ms. Kozanis, the same question.
I feel that probably one of the biggest things that is out there to kind of look at, and I think that it has been looked at, but I think it needs a little more looking at, and that is the sense of the mental health and mental health with children, and that. I feel that that sometimes gets lost. My concern are some of the things that are going on in the schools, in the fears that these children are having, and that there's not enough. I don't know if there's not enough dollars, or if it's just not a top priority, or it's just not what it is exactly. But what is happening is these kids are very, very, very scared right now. The mental health focus is very, very strong. And I'd like to see more programs that the community puts into place with mental health and with the opportunities for the kids to grow and be able to feel that they don't have to feel unsafe.
Thank you for that answer. Ms. Kozonis, the next question will start with you. The county's 4-year budget is approximately $500 million. What experience or education prepares you to oversee county finances of this magnitude?
You know what? I have to be very honest. I don't know a lot about finance. That's probably not my area of expertise. I'm more into the human focus, but where that, when it comes to money, where that goes to. But as far as being there to say that I have that expertise to do that, I'm not going to say that I do.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Labar, same question.
In general, the county general fund is around $140 million annually. Once you count state and federal pass-through over a 4-year period, that rises in aggregate to north of $1 billion. And so it's a large number to sort of wrap our heads around. I've been fortunate enough over 12 years as a commissioner. Among those years have been 2 as chair of the Ways and Means Committee and 2 as chair of the board as a whole. That has given me valuable experience in it. I'd also like to say, however, that we're guided by professional staff and state law in terms of the requirements of the budget. We also seek outside services in terms of an audit firm. And so this is a process that is complex and that does involve some learning. But I think Mary makes a great point that it's also a human endeavor. And so really bringing those values to the board table along with that experience, that's a mix I try and have on an annual basis and at all times.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Labar, the next question will start with you. Do you believe Michigan elections are free and fair? If not, what steps are needed to ensure that they are?
I think that's one of the most serious questions you could ask. My answer is yes, absolutely. Michigan elections are free and fair. They are not, however, without some of the systemic racist sort of residue of past generations, where it is not always as easy for all Michigan residents to vote. Some of the reforms in 2018 and in 2022 at the ballot have rectified some of those wrongdoings. I want to give a special recognition to Secretary Benson and her work as our Secretary of State. But look, we have the best election system in the world, but it is predicated on trust. And unfortunately, Donald Trump over the last really 8 years has bred a sense of distrust in American elections that folks like our county clerk, Larry Kestenbaum, and the civil servants who do those jobs day in and day out, they have to work extra hard to combat. And so I'd say to anybody that would listen, yes, they are free and fair, but what we all have a duty to do, in my opinion, is to make that clear, to communicate that to neighbors and to those we know and love and work with, and really to lean on the traditions of the democratic process that have served this country so well. Those are free and fair elections, but it's not that way by accident, and it's not that way without some sense of ongoing work on behalf of every citizen.
Thank you, Mr. LaBar. Ms. Kazonis, same question, please.
I think that what I'd be looking at is that just exactly where is the money going? Is it going to special interests? Is it going to what's the word I want? Other avenues? Is it being something that's coming back to where it's coming back to Washtenaw County and around that, where it's going to be able to be used for things that are going to be helping people, whether it be from health, whether it be from just even the situation right now. I mean, is really hard with the homeless and where are they going to live and everything else. So I guess when I'm looking at something like that, I'm looking at it from the humanistic point of view. And I think that there's more to be done so that we're sure that we have that money that we need.
Thank you, Ms. Kazonis. The next question will go to you first, Ms. Kazonis. In November, voters will be asked to renew the county community mental health and public safety preservation millage. Do you support this millage request, and why or why not?
100%. I think that we definitely need it. And I think we're at a time when we need it because there is so much confusion going on right now. And again, when you have something like that happening, right now people are scared. I'm seeing it with the people that I counsel and that type of thing. They're scared and they don't know what to expect. And I think that to have some guidance in that area would be extremely helpful.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. LaBar.
My answer is affirmatively yes. I'm the person who wrote the language in 2017 and played a key role, particularly with my colleague Annie Somerville, in some of the ordinance amendments that we made around the allocations within the sheriff's office from that millage. It is vital. It is critical. It impacts not just our mental health capacity through CMH and not just candidly our contract policing requirements that we have because we exist in the state of Michigan through the sheriff's office, but it also provides us money that we've been able to leverage to get new additional federal and state funding as it relates to mental health. And it provides for a system, very candidly, that I think Mary and I agree is generally underfunded and over-needed, overused, over-required in terms of the services that folks day-to-day need and use. Beyond the mental health and public safety aspects, there are also the aspects of that millage in terms of what the municipalities use any of their rebate portion for. City of Ann Arbor has done laudable things as it relates to climate change and others. And very candidly, the entire county fiscal picture is impacted by that millage because it provides roughly $20 million in total, of which about $14 million is coming to the county as a whole. Those are obviously earmarked funds for mental health and services under the sheriff's office, but they impact many others that the county and other entities do. And so it's a vital millage. If there are any criticisms on its complexity, aim those at me. But please vote for that millage and the capacity it provides for those vital services.
Thank you, Mr. Labar. And the next question will start with you, Mr. Labar. The public comment section of the board meeting sometimes lasts hours and doesn't permit immediate commissioner response to individual comments. What specific steps do you support to improve two-way communication between commissioners and their constituents?
Thank you, Rebecca. It does allow for commissioner feedback, and so commissioners do have the ability to, in their comments, highlight which comment they are replying to. But it's an inadequate system that tries to essentially, one, comply with the Freedom of Information Act and the Open Meetings Act, two, practically address the volume of public comment that is driven by issues in the community and what is of interest to the people there. It tries also in a 3-minute time frame to afford time that is both sufficient for the comment and short enough that we can get to multiple. There's no easy way to make a 2-hour public comment section fun and accessible, but it's the job of commissioners always to pay full attention to those comments, to do their own sifting in the moment in terms of what they want to reply to and when, where, and how. And I'm not sure that it's a process that will ever be truly perfect, but that maybe could be improved upon with suggestions from the public as a whole. My perspective in this is somewhat less useful because as a commissioner in that seat, my job is nearly purely to listen on the front end and then respond as best I can on the back. So I'd look to the public for suggestions about what makes it easier for them to engage. I do think the more we can do it virtually, over the phone, via Zoom and so forth, the more people can get access to their public officials, which is the highest purpose of that section of our meeting.
Thank you. Ms. Kazonis, the same question, please.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes, I'm happy to. It was a long one. The public comment section of board meetings sometimes lasts hours and doesn't permit immediate commissioner response to individual comments. What specific steps do you support to improve two-way communication between commissioners and their constituents?
I think that's really a hard question to answer, but I'm going to say that I think that if we were looking at it and looking at some possible way, I would say to make them longer.
Okay, thank you. And we'll start with you, Ms. Kazonis, for the next question. Washtenaw County has identified as a priority both use of renewable energy and preservation of open and agricultural space. How can these competing objectives be reconciled?
I look at that, and that's a real hard question to answer, because no matter what you do, something kind of has to be, there has to be some sacrifices in it. And doesn't always come, and it's not always very pleasing to people out there. So I guess what I'd say is there's probably going to have to be some sacrifices.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Labar, same question.
I think, Rebecca, in a nutshell, the green belt and land use policies as it relates to the sort of the outer ring around our urban area are essentially a trade-off that I think necessitates greater density within that internal area. I support generally greater density within the city of Ann Arbor. I think we can do that in the right way. The county does not have jurisdiction over land use. So for our role as an organization, I think one, good stewardship of existing county lands under our Parks and Rec Commission, continued facilitation of things like ALPAC and other open space land management systems, and then most importantly, continue to make progress on our own environmental efforts under our climate action plan. So for instance, we're considering port infrastructure upgrades for one of our courts. One of the driving cost factors that we'll need to balance, among others, is the inclusion of renewable energy infrastructure, solar panels, other things like that. I think personally the county has to maximize how much it does on our own infrastructure and land, and has to be generally a good community partner. I should note, I led the reuse of the now Veridian site on the southern part of the Washtenaw County Mary Lou Murray Parks and Rec facility on Platte Road. It was a compromise between land use, environmental efficiency, density, and purpose of land use in housing. I think we need to do more projects like that when we can, in ways that make sense and maximize as much environmental benefit as we can.
Thank you. This will be our final question, and we'll start with you, Mr. LaBar. How do the interests of residents of your district conflict with the priorities of the county at large? Is your duty to your constituents or to all county residents?
Yes. In all candor, I have a duty to every constituent I represent, but that duty can never supersede the role of being a policymaker for the entire community under the auspices of the county. I owe any and all constituents a complete answer, my most honest assessment of things, and responsiveness in constituent services. But there are times where very candidly a constituent will communicate with me, express their opinion, and I will have to say respectfully and usefully that they are heard, even if I do not agree with their policy choice. That is a balance that we have to sort of do in iterative fashion, day in, day out. I was fortunate early in my career to work for Congressman John Dingell. And one of the things that job taught me above all else was treat folks with respect, respond to every inquiry, and err on the side of too much honesty and information, so that if you do have to tell someone you disagree, you can do so in a way where they appreciate, one, that you were forthright, and two, that you were public servant in the sense of providing them answers to the questions they sought, regardless if it agreed with their viewpoint on the policy issue. I try and emulate Mr. Dingell in that every day as best I can, and do the best I can on each and every constituent question.
Thank you. Ms. Kazonis, same question, please.
Again, I'm going to go back to what I have said a little bit earlier, is that the whole mental health, it seems to be collapsing. And we really need to right now, with all this going on, with the COVID, with everything else and all the changes in that, we need to have something that has some way that obviously will be affecting everybody in a positive way. I think one of the things that I'm very, very, very strong about is we need to have, because I'm a real advocate for the kids. That's where I am at this point. I am there as saying, look, the kids are scared. They're in the schools. Things are happening in the schools, and that the kids are scared. I just had, and I hope you don't mind me taking a few minutes to say this, but I just had a little girl that was basically 8 years old. I was over at the park. I was just sitting on the bench. She was crying. I went over to see her, and she kept saying to me, "They're going to bomb us. They're going to hurt us. They're going to hurt us. I'm going to get hurt." Basically, what ended up happening is I tried to reassure her, because my background is social work, and I let her know that she was okay and that, and I asked her if she had asked her mom about it. The bottom line is that people are scared. Adults, children, they don't know what to expect, and the unexpected is really causing a panic out there, and we need those groups in the school very, very much there, and we need to let kids know that they're safe.
Thank you for that response. Now it's time for closing statements, and we will begin with you, Ms. Kazonis.
I just feel that there is so much for our county. It's a great county. There's wonderful things happening. I think that other things might come in to happen that might have some valuable assets too, by putting in some of the new things in, looking at how can we make our county better. Where do we go from here? What do we need to put in? What do we need to put into it? How do we make people feel safe? And I guess the other part of it is just how can we really help people to get the most out of the county and to be able to give them that sense that they're really part of the county and you want their input.
Thank you, Ms. Kazonis. Mr. Labar, your closing statement, please.
Thanks again to you and the League for holding this forum and all you do for our democracy. Mary, thank you for sharing the forum time here with me. I would close simply by saying it's been a great honor over the last 12 years to serve the people of Washtenaw County on the County Board of Commissioners. I am entitled to nothing, and I bring no special, unique ability to that role other than the desire to serve the public, to be open and accountable and transparent, and to work hard. County government is never going to win the most exciting unit of government award, if such an award existed, but it's really important. And it's particularly important for those folks who tend to, in life, be least well-resourced in their own lives and in their economic and socioeconomic position. So it's important work. It's important work that reflects, I think, the importance of social justice in our society. And it's something I'm privileged to have a role in. I pledge to work hard, to be accountable, and to continue to do my very best as a community member to serve our county and our residents as best I can day in, day out. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you both for participating in this valuable session.
The League thanks the candidates and volunteers who participated in today's forum and the community members who submitted questions. Please urge others to view our forums. And most importantly, please vote in the November 5th general election, either by absentee ballot or in person.